Marketer of the Day, episode 703. Speak to your emotions to make a social connection. Empathy, understanding, and curiosity with Laura Long.
Robert, I'm happy to talk with you and the Marketers of the Day podcast listeners. I want to talk about optimizing your marketing practice using the wisdom of your heart. So, Robert, have you ever noticed how more we're seeing and hearing about backstories before we even get the message or the product or the marketing pitch? So there seems to be this noticeable shift in marketing with a heart connection wrapped up in the message. It's almost like it's a requirement these days. Some of the most really successful observers of this type of marketing happens in TV shows, The Voice or Dancing with the Stars. So even if that's not like your thing to watch that for entertainment value, there's a good case study and they're really good examples of how to use a format to engage an audience. So it's like before the content even gets on the stage, there's a story of the journey that these people have gone through to get there and their backstory about their humanness. Right away, we're starting to buy in before we even see the product, so to speak, because these performers, the product is their performance. It's through that heartfelt stories that we're pulled in and we begin to connect to those performers. You know, that's what they're selling at a deeper level. We want to feel something before we engage, before we buy into the presentation. I'm not an expert at marketing. I'll let you know that right away, but I am a professional whose business it is to notice how people are engaging and relating and working through their emotions. Keyword there, emotions. So if we look closely and we start to notice, most of the time we're having an emotional reaction before we take action. As marketers, we're wanting to tap into that. One of the biggest turnoffs that work against this wanting to create this heart connection is when the seller tries to rush the experience. We usually run away from that. We want to feel and we want to get to know things first. Another turnoff is when a business talks more about how they do what they do versus talking about the wants and the needs of their prospective audience. If we don't see a way to relate, we jump out pretty quick. I know I sure do. Think about it. If it's just this cold material facts, all about the process, nothing about the gain, then there's not much to keep our interest. There's somebody who talks about this really well. He's a teacher, a coach, widely successful to high achievers. His name's Lipton, and he has a way of describing it. He says most people don't want to know how you do it. They don't want to know how you do what you do. They want to know why you do what you do, because they're asking themselves, having their own filtering system. Just a couple of really super simple questions. One, they want to know, does this company here, do they understand the needs of me? Can they help me? Do they understand my needs and can they help me? That is what they're interested in looking at to go further with you in this process of representing your product, your service. So our customers, they want to know their basic needs are being met first before they go any further with us. If we lead them with our qualifications and all about the how of what we do, we've not missed their first primal needs. You got to meet their first primal needs. So that, because there's so much information out there, it's coming at us 24/7. And all that information can just roll right off of us and sound like a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Our people are craving a relatable way to make the message stick. A big, juicy, sticky, relatable part of us is our heart. Yep, that little thing right there in the middle of us. That's what we're using all the time. It's not just a pump that pumps our blood. It helps us interpret the connections we want to make. It's a big part of our filtering system, and we're filtering like crazy through this information age. So the heart is the keeper of our emotions. We don't think about things that way. We're just not trained to think about things that way. So I'm introducing this idea to you, and you've all felt when there's been a heart connection and you want to move forward because you feel like somebody gets you and you feel like they can help you, or there's some engagement in some way that connects our humanity. Because our emotions, they're really running the show behind the scenes, and they're ultimately influencing our choices. The heart filters our emotions, so catching that connection is the mastery here that can really benefit and take advantage of, authentically relating to people. So we're getting pretty good. The outside world and us too, we're getting pretty good at sensing when somebody's not real. And when they're not really care about us as humans, when they're not being real, we can spot that. fake stuff. And ultimately a turnoff because we're craving that relatable stuff that comes from the heart. Even the tough guys, their emotions might be different, but anger, greed, hunger for power, riches, sex, those are still emotions. So no matter what one's persona, tough or not, we're all filtering through the heart to get what we want, to make us feel the way we want. This connection to what we want and what's important to us, the heart helps us filter that. You might call it subconscious, but it's actually the physical, neurological aspects of the heart. And the heart does have neurological aspects that communicate with the brain. We're using that constantly and we're not even aware of it, so we might as well utilize it. It's a type of funneling that goes on, and it's quick and it's in seconds, and we decide how to invest our time and our engagement and our money. If we were to put a voice to that filter, it might say something like, give me a connection. Give me a social or a humanly relatable connection, or I'm going to leave. Speak to my emotions. When we find a way to relate, we're in. If not, we lose interest pretty quick. We're hardwired to call up the heart, to quickly sort information. So it's a part of our physiology. It saves our mental energy, and it gets it straight to the heart of the matter. Yes, pun intended there. If we're making choices through our emotions, and the heart is the filter of our emotions, then it's smart marketing to create a sustainable, authentic connection to our clients through the heart. The thing is your people are not going to tell you flat out, I need you to make me feel like this. They're going to show you by their level of engagement. The question becomes, what's most important to the people you want to engage with? And do you know the answer to that question? Can you answer the question, what's most important to the people you want to engage with? Do you know how your people want to feel? That's not the easiest question to answer if you're asking just from your head. The connection you want to create for your clients won't come solely from your head. There's not enough of a connection just from the brainy stuff that doesn't have the sticky, juicy stuff that the heart is looking to filter through. So in turn, the ultimate question's worth asking regularly. How do you want your clients to feel? And the other side of the coin is, how do your clients want to feel? You can start getting curious about these questions, and there's some ideas that can get you started. The very first thing that you can do is slow down. You don't want to rush straight to the sell. And remember, most of the time, we want an experience before we purchase the big package. So give them an experience first. If you're thinking about how you can bring a little bit more heart into your offerings, that leaves you with another question. How do you get in touch with your heart so that you can deliver the offerings your clients are craving? This isn't the mushy gooey stuff. This is real filtering that people are doing, because ultimately we're a bunch of emotions. We've got to figure out what those emotions are and be able to relate to those emotions. So how can you build your heart connection so that you can hear the answers to the questions? How do my clients want to feel? Here's a couple ideas. If you don't have a practice that connects you with the wisdom of your intelligent heart, that part of you that creates all this, that part of you that'll keep you connected to the needs of your people, the one that opens the door to the human experience, then let me show you a couple of resources here. So one that's a more science-based approach with an organization that you can follow called the Heart Math Institute. Heart Math Institute. It's an easy Google search and you'll find lots of information on there. And the Heart Math Institute has a research method of congruent communication with the heart to the brain. That's what you want to cultivate. There have been some really cool videos that show how this works from the back end of things, and some, as well as some really effective exercises that you can do that helps you communicate with others as well as yourself at this higher level. Ultimately, the deepest connections that you want to make with your people starts with you. If you can access your heart wisdom, you can resonate authentically with the people in the way that they engage through the human experience. And the human experience is something we're all craving these days. We think we're getting it, but not completely getting it because of this information age. There's another thing that you can do that will develop your heart connection, that congruent heart to brain connection that helps you answer those deeper questions for yourself. And that is simply breathing in and out of your heart center. So the heart-brain congruence comes in through the breath. Really super simple way. You're building that communication. And in addition, as you're breathing in and out of your heart, ask some of the really super simple questions. And as you're doing it, that clarity, as you calm your nervous system and you increase your congruence with your heart, those questions start to come to a greater level of clarity for you. But don't rush it. Let it come forward. Let it flow through. It may not be in that sitting, but you can simply ask things like, what's next? And let it evolve throughout the day. Let the answers come to you. So like if you're working on a project and you have some idea of where you're starting, you could just simply ask the question, what's next? Don't keep it too complex. You want to keep it super simple. A lot of people tell me they don't know how to meditate, that their mind goes all over this place. And I say, of course it does. So you can try giving it an assignment. So if you give your mind the assignment, it'll do wonders just to set up that little bit of time to breathe in and out. So the breath is like a root. It's so simple to start right there. It's the root of our essence, our breath. You don't live very long without your breath. It's that powerful. So these are the types of practices that I teach my clients as we move through their coaching programs. It's profound. It's very doable. It seems, wow, inner mastery, in talking to my heart. Wow. It's simple. Really, it's very, very simple. So my clients are people who've done pretty well with themselves, yet they still feel like there's something missing. And that missing part is often that unique thing for them. What we do is we bridge that gap between their inner and outer success, and that becomes the path of exploration to what's that missing part for them. If you want to explore how to bridge a gap in your life, your relationships, your business, really easy to start by just getting curious about possibility. And that's what I do with my clients. We keep it really simple. And one of the best ways to start is have a complimentary conversation with me so that you can begin to explore curiosity of what's next. Is there something missing? And you can reach me best through my website at lauralong.pro. I'm writing a book that's due out next year. It talks about this powerful heart and our experiences through it. It'll give you a lot more opportunities to engage with the heart, so watch for that. And I thank you very much for the wisdom of your conversations today.
Want to listen to more fantastic Marketers of the Day? Subscribe to us at marketeroftheday.com/iTunes and browse past episodes at marketeroftheday.com.